You know that feeling when you check your bank account and your stomach just drops? That moment when you realize the month is only halfway over and the money is already gone. And it's not like you're out here buying yachts or taking exotic vacations. You're just living. Groceries, gas, rent, the occasional dinner out because you needed a break from everything. And somehow, at the end of every single month, there's nothing left. Nothing to show for all those hours you worked. Nothing to build with. Nothing to fall back on. Just a number on a screen that makes you feel like you're failing at something everyone else seems to have figured out. Here's the truth nobody tells you. You are not bad with money. You were just never taught how to handle it properly. There's a difference. A massive difference. And once you understand that, everything changes. The system most people use is simple. Earn money, spend money, hope something is left over. And when nothing is left over, they blame themselves. They tell themselves they just need to make more, earn more, hustle harder. But the paycheck gets bigger and somehow the problem stays exactly the same. Because the problem was never the amount of money coming in. The problem was the absence of a system for what happens to it once it arrives. Let me paint you a picture. Imagine two people who earn the exact same amount every month. Same job type, same city, same basic expenses. 5 years later, one of them has built a financial cushion that lets them say no to things that drain them and yes to things that fill them up. The other one is still stressed, still one emergency away from a crisis, still wondering where it all went. The only difference between those two people is not luck. It's not connections. It's not even income. It's a handful of simple habits practiced consistently over time. That's it. That's the whole secret. And today, we're going to break all of it down. Before we go further, if you've been looking for structured tools, step-by-step frameworks, and proven systems to accelerate exactly what we're talking about today, we have related programs linked down below in the video description. But honestly, if you're someone who thinks they already know enough about budgeting and you don't need any extra support, you can skip that. Some people aren't ready yet, and that's completely fine. For everyone else who actually wants to close the gap between where they are now and where they want to be financially, that information is waiting for you below. Now let's talk about the first habit that changes everything. Know exactly where every dollar goes. Not a rough estimate, not a ballpark. Exactly. Most people have a vague sense of their spending. They know they spend a lot on food and they probably overpay for subscriptions. But vague is expensive. When researchers tracked household spending, families who tracked their spending in detail consistently saved significantly more than those who didn't. Some studies show a difference of up to 30% in monthly savings just from the act of tracking alone. Not cutting spending, not making more money, just tracking. Because awareness is the first form of control. Here's what happens when you actually sit down and look. You discover the streaming service you forgot to cancel 9 months ago. You realize you've been eating out 5 times a week without noticing because each individual meal felt small. You see the automatic renewals, the impulse buys that seem harmless in the moment but collectively steal hundreds of dollars every month. This isn't about shame. This is about seeing clearly so you can choose consciously. The second habit is giving every dollar a job before the month begins. This is called a zero-based budget, and it is the foundation that financially stable people build everything on. Before you spend a single dollar, you decide on paper exactly where every dollar is going. Rent, utilities, groceries, transportation, savings, emergency fund, fun money, every category gets an assignment. When you do this, your money stops disappearing and starts working. People who implement this one habit report feeling more in control of their finances within the first month than they ever have before. Not because they're restricting themselves, but because they're directing themselves. There's an enormous psychological difference between feeling deprived and feeling intentional. Stop. Pattern interrupt. Think about what financial stress actually costs you, not in dollars, in life. The relationships that get strained because money is a constant source of tension. The opportunities you had to say no to because you didn't have the cushion to take the risk. The sleep you lost lying awake running numbers in your head. The weight of carrying that invisible burden into every single room you walk into. Financial stress is not just an inconvenience. Research consistently shows it contributes to physical health problems, mental health challenges, and is one of the top causes of relationship breakdown. This is not a small thing. This is your life being quietly consumed by something that is actually fixable. The third habit is automating your savings before you have a chance to spend it. Most people try to save what's left over at the end of the month. There is never anything left over at the end of the month. The people who build real wealth pay themselves first. The moment your income arrives, a portion of it moves automatically into savings before it can be spent on anything else. Even if that number starts small, even if it's just a small percentage of what you earn, the compounding effect over time is staggering. Someone who saves consistently over several years builds a fundamentally different financial reality than someone who doesn't. Not because of dramatic windfalls, Because of quiet, boring, powerful consistency. And here's the psychological shift that makes this work long-term. When you automate savings, you remove the willpower requirement. You stop having to make the decision every month. The decision is already made. The money is already moved. This is how you win without relying on motivation, which everyone who has ever tried to get healthy, get organized, or get financially stable knows is the least reliable resource on the planet. The fourth habit is building an emergency fund like your entire future depends on it, because it does. Most financial advisors agree that having between 3 and 6 months of essential expenses set aside in liquid savings is the baseline of financial stability. Yet a large percentage of adults report that they could not cover an unexpected expense of even a few $100s without going into debt. Let that land. One broken car part, one unexpected medical bill, 1 week of missed work, and the whole thing collapses. The emergency fund is not just a savings account. It is the wall between your present life and complete financial derailment. Fifth habit. Audit everything regularly. Your budget is not a document you create once and never look at again. It is a living reflection of your priorities and your life. Life changes. Income changes. Expenses shift. What worked 6 months ago might need to be adjusted today. The people who stay financially ahead are the ones who check in consistently, make small adjustments often, and never let their financial life drift on autopilot for too long without a conscious review. Here is the transformation on the other side of all of this. Imagine opening your bank account and feeling calm. Imagine knowing that if something unexpected happened tomorrow, you could handle it. Imagine saying yes to something you want without that gut-twisting guilt. Imagine having actual options about where you work, how you spend your time, and what kind of future you build. This is not a fantasy reserved for people who are born into money or hit some lucky break. This is what consistently applied simple habits produce over time. Real people build this, ordinary incomes build this, consistency builds this. The cost of not doing this is not staying the same. The cost is compounding in the wrong direction. Every month that passes without a system is a month of opportunity lost. Every year of financial drift makes the climb back slightly steeper. Time is either working for you or against you right now. It is not standing still. If everything we covered today resonated with you and you're ready to stop circling the same problems and actually build something different, the programs in the description below are exactly what you need next. This is not information you want to sit on. The people who take action right now are the ones who look back a year from now completely transformed. The ones who wait keep waiting. Everything you need is one click away. It's down there right now. Go get it.